Damn it, I forgot my cup. That's okay, though. Good morning, peace and love, everybody. This is your sister Mina, a.k.a. Mama Roo, coming to you on this Facebook Live that I said I was going to do to unpack this bullshit, this fuckery, this foolishness that is still going on in the community, all right, the so-called spiritual community online, and that is this thing around the Mammy, all right. This is a very, very sensitive topic to me. Why? Because I practice ancestral reverence, okay? And I'm real serious about that shit. I've been doing this for almost 3 decades now, okay? For those of you who do not know, all right, I practice ancestral reverence and have been doing so for almost 3 decades now, okay? And it started for me in the late 80s. And it has since then taken different turns and different manifestations. I started off real simple under the guidance of a Babalawo of Ifa, okay? And over time, my situation has changed, it's evolved, it's grown. We start with our most recent ancestors, and over time, you start building a relationship back through the generations. And then you find yourself crossing the waters. Understand something. You might not have known them in life, but they all know you. Trust and believe that. And I don't care what religion you're in. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your tradition is. That is facts, people. That's facts. We are living, breathing representations of all of our ancestors. So your level of relationship and cognizance and awareness of the ancestors that you revere is just scratching the surface. You understand me? Space and time is a thing for us because we're human. But when it comes to the spirits, it ain't shit. And we got to stop looking at our spirits as if they are human beings, okay? Yes, they have had human lives, but the physics and the reality of all of that doesn't necessarily pertain to them the way it pertains to us as living representations of them, okay? Which leads me to the next point. You keep hearing this. Spirits don't see color. Spirits don't know. Look, listen, anybody that lived on this planet and leaves their fleshly vehicles, right, is what I call our bodies, they maintain a little bit of that humanity, okay? And in different African societies and traditions and cultures, these bits go on to become somewhat deified. They become divinities. And they don't lose their preferences for certain things that they enjoyed in life, okay? Certain preferences. And so if you go to any type of ceremony, event, festival where certain divine forces come down or are honored, there are certain physical things that are put out in their honor to show reverence, to pay homage, to get their favor, on and on and on. So if there was no human element to these spirits, they wouldn't need none of them shits. They wouldn't need them shits. Why would they need certain clothes? Why would they need certain accessories, certain tools, certain weapons, certain food, certain drinks? Smoke. Why would they need any of that if they were so beyond any of those things that we can ascribe to human beings? Okay? Y'all got to start using logic. Yeah, well, it's religion, it's spirituality, so logic and reasoning kind of goes out the window. Nah, maybe for your ass. Okay? And I'm seeing a lot of that happening here with this whole thing about the Mammy. I'm seeing black folks, descendants of African enslaved people, caping for that bullshit. And I've been talking about this for a minute now. As a matter of fact, on my page, I posted a podcast where me and a few priests of African traditions talked about this phenomena, okay? That was 3 years ago, and it had been happening before then. And here I am, years later, still talking about this shit. Why? Because I still see black folks perpetuating this nonsense. And this is problematic, okay? It's problematic. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, and listen, tag them. Tag your white hoodoo mamas. If you got one, Cat Ironwood, Star Cassis, Conjure Cardia, and all them other ones. Tag them bitches to this live. All right? Because I don't like one-sided arguments. This is my page. Hopefully this thing I'm posting here is public. But if you can tag a motherfucker, go ahead and do it now. Okay? And we can have a damn debate right here. We can do this shit right here. Because those two of those women I just named, I have talked to personally about the grievances and issues I have had with the things that they're putting out in the public for public consumption. And motherfuckers, just like they plan, are running with this shit and making it into truths. Okay? So let me backtrack a little bit and go back to this Mammy thing. Okay? The tea as it was brought to me, get your cups ready now. The tea as it was brought to me by Cat Ironwood about 2 years ago was that Star Cassis, who is the proponent of putting these mammy fuck shits out there as hoodoo devices, okay? She's teaching people to put these racist icons on an altar, okay, as part of a hoodoo practice, which it ain't. But Cat Ironwood told me that Star Cassis first came to the internet spiritual scene back in the days of AOL in the 90s, the late 90s and somewhere therein, and she was posing as a Santera in a message group. And it was real easy for her to get away with that fuck shit because most of the people in the group were white folks who really didn't have an understanding of that Afro-Latino tradition, okay? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the tradition as it's known today, most people don't call it Santeria anymore. It seems to have fallen out of favor. But back in the 80s and the 90s, people called it Santeria. That's how I first came upon it in the late 80s, Santeria, okay? Which is an African-derived tradition practiced by people in the Caribbean, okay? Cuba, Puerto Rico, and basically it was a way to honor the saints, which were placeholders for Orisha, okay? The African divinities, the forces of nature, whatever however you want to call the Orisha, which is a Yoruba Nigerian way of looking at these spirits, okay? But during slavery, they could not openly revere these spirits. They had to hide them. And the religion of their oppressors was Catholicism. Catholicism works with the pantheon of different saints. So as long as the white man came around and saw them honoring the saints, they were like, okay, nothing to see here, and they kept it moving. But in reality, those enslaved Africans were honoring the spirits of their ancestors, and they were doing it undetected. Remember, Africans always have a way of making a way out of no way. And they felt like by any means necessary, we're going to keep our spirits alive. Okay? Now, in some of those Afro-Latino cultures, and if you're Afro-Latino, please speak up on this live and get the shit straight, because I can fuck shit up. Okay? So, yeah. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about this. But in some Afro-Latino cultures, they honored their ancestors. They honored their ancestors. Okay, who were in fact enslaved Africans. And part of this honoring was to create certain iconography to represent them. Like Francisco and Francesca, okay? Like La Madamas, which happened to be a whole ass grouping of feminine divine mother energy, okay? It didn't necessarily mean one individual. All right, but it almost always related to ancestral mothers, okay? The people they were snatched from to be enslaved for somebody else. That's Afro-Latino Caribbean culture and history. We don't have that here, okay? Not in the same way. We honor our ancestors, but in a very different way. Because remember, we're under Protestant rule here. There is no saint pantheon to hide nothing behind. We don't do the iconography that is very prevalent in Catholicism, okay? We don't have that iconography. In Protestant Christianity, you have what? You got basically one damn thing, okay? One thing, and that's the Christ crucifix. That's it. We ain't got no iconography, okay? But we do know how to honor and revere our ancestors, and the point of reference with that is honoring and respecting the elders and taking care of them after they done gone. Okay? So we have our own history with slavery. Okay? It is very different. Here in the United States, we had the most brutal, good morning, love, we had the most brutal and cruel experience in slavery in comparison to the rest of the diaspora. Now, that's facts. A lot of folk want to argue that shit. Go ahead. But that's facts. I've done my research. Okay? So any type of Africanity or Africanism was immediately, you got punished for that shit. Okay, the first generation of enslaved Africans, they were taught real quick, real fast, that kind of shit you're doing, that drumming you're doing, the march you putting on the ground, them little things you're making over yonder, that shit'll get you boiled alive over here. You understand me? And there wasn't a whole lot of isolation where folks could do these things, unlike our people over in the Eastern Seaboard, over there in the islands, okay? I'm talking about the Gullah Geechee people. They did have the isolation and the autonomy to retain certain Africanisms. And to this day, they have done a very excellent job in doing so. So shout out to all my Gullah and shout out to all my Gullah Geechee people who may be on this. But anyway, black folk in Mississippi, black folks in Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, on and on like that. No, we weren't allowed to do none of that stuff. So as far as the white man looking in is concerned, the motherfucking overseer, as far as he's concerned, oh, them niggers is fine. They in line with the shits. But what they didn't realize is that we never let it go in here. Never. And the fragments of those traditions exist and remain today. It never died, as some white folks like to say. Cat Ironwood, she thinks she's preserving a lost and dead or dying tradition. Hell the fuck no. You only say that shit out of ignorance. This tradition never fucking died. It stays under a shroud of secrecy, and root workers who are known in communities, in towns and cities are known because of the people they service, not because they put out motherfucking shingles, not because they had, signs and billboards up. The people who help them are the ones who put their name out there. Okay? They're the ones who did that shit, not the workers themselves. Okay? That's why somebody will hear some shit being said about somebody they knew and they go back and say, oh, they said you was doing it. Oh, no, baby. I don't know what you're talking about. There was a reason for this secrecy. But now we have the internet. And now everybody wants to be a root doctor. Everybody wants to be a root worker. Everybody wants to be a hoodooist. Everybody wants to be a voodoo priest. Everybody wants to be this, that, and the fucking third. And my question is this, for you non-black people. Isn't your white privilege enough? Isn't living and navigating this society as a white person enough? Why in the world do you feel the need to claim a tradition, a practice, a culture that was birthed from black oppression due to anti-blackness and racism, which is what the slave trade was based on? Why? These were used as tools for black liberation under slavery. Black liberation under Reconstruction. Black liberation under Jim fucking Crow. Okay? Well, why the fuck do you think that you have the entitlement to put your hands in this shit? For what, white ladies? Why? I don't have a problem with these outsiders being marketeers. Let me just clarify that right now. I don't have a problem with anybody selling any damn thing. This is a capitalistic society we live in. We can market, distribute, and sell any goddamn thing we want to. That's okay. But when you sit up there and call yourself an elder, when you sit up there and call yourself an expert, when you sit up there and call yourself teaching this stuff, and by stuff, I'm talking about black root culture to non-black people. And black folks, I'm going to get on y'all in a second, okay? But come on, man. This is not something that can be taught via the internet, okay? Webinar, all right? You can't do that, all right? This stuff can only be learned by the feet, sitting at the feet of the elders, period, point blank. Because there's levels to this shit. It is beyond just working a root and lighting a fucking candle. God damn it. And yes, I'm fucking heat up by this shit because I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm tired of it. I'm very, very passionate about this stuff. Okay? And I'm sick of the disrespect. I'm sick of the fucking racism. Getting back to that Mammy shit. That shit was born out of racism. If you knew the history, you would understand, and I'm assuming that a lot of folks don't. So let's unpack that part. Let's look at the history. There was such a thing as abolitionists, okay? They were mainly in the North. And they were against the practice of enslaving African people. So a lot of them felt that it would be worthwhile to go to the southern plantations and infiltrate and gather intel so that they could take it back home and make a case against this practice. What they found while gathering their intel is that a large number of these homes and plantations, because not everybody had a plantation who had slaves, let's get that part straight. A lot of folks were just simply farmers, but they also had slaves, okay? You could have as many as one, up to 30, 50, or even more. Usually it was the bigger plantations that had slaves in the hundreds, and those were few. But what they found is that a lot of the young women, and we're talking about girls in some cases, 9, 10 years old, but mostly they were teenagers and young women who were working in the big house to take care of them little white kids, okay? Most of these women were also used as sex slaves by the white masters and any of their gentlemen friends or family members who wanted to partake. They saw the sexual abuse and wrote about it and used it as propaganda against the practice of slavery in the South. So what do you think the fucking Bucker did when they found out about this shit? They started their own propaganda to push back against that narrative. And how did they do that? By creating this Mammy. They wanted white folks to understand that these women are so physically unattractive and so, gross and what we don't find sexually attractive and appealing. There is no way in the world a white man would ever lay down with something like this. And of course, we have to understand what white folks think is attractive. Number one, what's unattractive? Having black skin. What's unattractive? Being morbidly obese, overweight, fat, okay? Big old googly eyes and snaggle teeth. Unattractive, okay? So they crafted this Mammy image to push back on that truth that they were sexually abusing their and there's a whole group of not photographs, but what's the word? Oh shit. When they made the photos on the metal, all right, the word escapes my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, I just posted one like a few days ago. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you look at those images, 9 out of 10 of those women who would be known as mammies were slim, physically attractive women. They look nothing like these statues and these fucking cookie jars and these salt shakers and these old fucking ads for wash powder and soap and all that dumb shit that they use to sell items with. Okay, household items. Because the mammies did what in the house? Domestic duties, right? They were doing the cooking, they were doing the cleaning, they were doing the serving. So anything that the white folks in advertising could sell to white households, they used that depiction. And scholars have studied this, have written about it, reported. I shared some links on my page. If y'all don't know the goddamn history, please stop being so fucking lazy and do your history. Do your own research. You understand me? It's worth the time. So then you won't be looking at people like me going, why is she so upset? I don't get it. I don't understand. So this woman who was posing as a santera back in the day got run off the fucking message board because some real motherfucker showed up and started asking her the tough questions. Okay? Whose house? Who is your godparents? What lineage? When? Where? What? How much? Do it? And they're asking her all the questions that a really initiated person in the tradition would be able to answer, no problem. But she couldn't handle the heat, so she got the fuck out the kitchen, disappeared, and then recrafted this whole new identity because guess what? There was a parallel conversation happening in those groups about what? Root work, hoodoo, and voodoo. So she decided to leave that shit alone because it wasn't working and pick up this shit. And then crafted this whole motherfucking false narrative about her history and her lineage, okay? People without discernment will fall for it. It's a lovely romantic story, okay? And basically, she did make friends and get close to a lot of folks of race, a lot of folks of tradition, because a lot of black folks is like that. They love it when white folks are interested in our stories. They love it when white folks are interested in our shit. And so they will do this with wild abandon. And that motherfucker will be taking notes. And then the next thing you know, they done crafted a whole ass family history based on some shit they got from some black folks. And niggas is falling for it. Child, look. Isn't that always the case? Isn't it? Okay? You don't have to look in the spiritual community to even know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's the truth. Look at the political landscape right now. Look what the fuck is going on with Donna Brazile right now and Hillary fucking Clinton and the Democratic Party. It's consistent no matter where you are. That kind of fake ally bullshit is consistent. White folks will cozy up to you and rub your motherfucking back and tell you how, nice you are and how, and they not racist, they don't see color and all this dumb shit and Black Lives Matter and all this fucking shit. Next thing you know, this motherfucker gets an invitation to every motherfucking cookout. And the goddamn potato salad recipe. Fuck out of here. Anyway, so now she's crafting herself as this, and now, because she had forayed in Afro-Latino tradition, she sees something, oh, that's fucking familiar. I seen that shit growing up. Well, listen, the number one collector of Mammy iconography in this country is white women. The second is Japanese men. I don't understand that, but that's it. Anyway, that's some racist bullshit. But because she was so enamored with the Lama Dama tradition and the Lama Dama's, ideology, she decided to overlay that with these fucking mammy jars. And she told me herself, and it's in her book, she don't refer to them as mammies because that's racist. And I had to let her know. You think just calling the goddamn thing mammy is racist, but you don't think what the fuck you're doing is racist? God damn it, your ancestors enslaved my ancestors in the goddamn flesh. How the fuck do you think that you get to enslave them in the spirit and teach other white motherfuckers to do the same? Hell, fuck no. I had a long-ass conversation with her about that shit in which she agreed with me, and she said to me, I didn't see it like that. Oh, my God. I had no idea. When you put it like that, that is very disrespectful. I'm sorry. Now, she did disclose to me that she got her ancestry test done, and her ancestry came out with some small percentage of West African ancestry, but she told me not to tell anybody because her family would have fucking shit fits if they knew. I told y'all to get your teacup ready. One thing you got to know of me is I don't lie. I don't lie. Okay? I'm not a liar. She didn't want anybody to know that shit. And now I'm seeing that people are talking about it, so I guess the cat's out the goddamn bag. Maybe her family disowned her for that shit, or maybe she was afraid they're going to call her out for a fucking liar. I don't know why she wanted to keep such information secret. But my whole fucking thing is this. If you're a white motherfucker and you've lived your life as a white person covered by white privilege, and you find out you got 1%, 3%, 6%, hell, I don't give a fuck, 10% West African DNA, that don't mean shit to me. That means nothing. You don't know what it's like to live as a black person in America, Triple K. I do. I know what it's like. I have memories of being 6 years old, sitting out in front of my goddamn house, and a whole fucking pickup truck of white motherfuckers with the Confederate flag on that goddamn bitch drove by my house, said, look at the motherfucking nigger monkey, threw garbage in my yard. When I'm out of town with my family members, I got to come home to see KKK, niggers go back to Africa, spray painted on our garage door. Our fucking mailbox was laying on the ground, bashed in. It had KKK, niggers go home on it. Okay, having to go to school with these white motherfuckers. Okay, the white kids love me. They love me. And they used to come to school and cry in crocodile tears because they white racist parents said they couldn't invite me to their goddamn parties. Okay? I grew up with that shit. All right? And I thought I left that shit behind when I moved to the north. Hell, fuck no. The racism here is even more insidious than in the South because people over here got to be fucking politically correct. White motherfuckers in the South don't have a problem letting your black ass know how they feel about you. But up here in the North, God damn it, they are even more insidious because they hide it. But the shit always comes out. If you are a black person and you are experienced to real racism, you can see hidden racism just like that. So maybe that's what the problem is with all these black folks caping for these white motherfuckers who claim to be culture bearers for their traditions. Okay? Maybe that's where the disconnect is. I don't know. Somebody explain that shit to me, because I don't know. But the shit is frustrating as fuck when I see the shit. And then I had this motherfucker on my wall this morning trying to tell me he only knows of one white person who can do this, and they do it respectfully and they do it correctly. And the reason why he gives them a pass is because they had a dream that this African Mammy came to them and said, I love you and I want to serve you and I want to, bitch, what? Listen, my mother, who probably ain't on this live, but mama, if you're on here, good morning. I remember in the 70s, she was all up into that Native American spirituality stuff. And she used to talk to white folks who claimed they had Native American ancestry. And God damn it, if they didn't say the same shit back then in the damn 70s. Oh, the spirits came to me in a dream. Oh, he came to me. Oh, Black Elk, oh, he comes to my dreams. He's my spirit guide. Oh, and they felt fucking entitled to these people's things. They didn't give a shit about them Native Americans. They didn't give a shit about their oppression. They didn't give a shit about the fucking history, okay? About how their fucking blood drenches the soil of this land. They didn't give a shit about that shit. All they cared about is going up into these motherfuckers and claiming for themselves. And they used that dream narrative to say it was okay. Y'all think this shit is new. Okay, you're talking to, I'm old, okay? I remember things. Y'all too young to remember the shit I remember because you weren't born to see the shit. I was there, I seen them shits. Appropriation is not new, people. That's why I posted the shit about Randolph on my page, okay? He was being appropriated and stole from back in the 1800s. This shit is not new. White motherfuckers ain't got nothing, all right? They ain't got shit. And that's why they're always in everybody else's shit. Back in the 60s, where were they? Come on, y'all, help me. Where the fuck were they in the 60s? They were over in India, fucking with my daddy's ancestors. Okay? And then bringing that shit back over here and selling to y'all goofy asses. Yes. Who do you think makes the most money right now on yoga? Come on. Who's doing it? Becky and Todd. Any fucking yoga studio in this country right now is owned by Becky and Todd. Show me the receipts if I'm wrong on that one. That's their history. That's all they fucking know. Okay? And if something ain't working for them, they'll move on and jump on the next fucking bandwagon. I remember seeing in one group, these white motherfuckers in there bragging, trying to outdo each other with the number of initiations they had in African and other people of color's traditions. Okay? It was like a fucking pissing match, a dick measuring contest. That shit was hilarious. I had to laugh to keep from fucking crying. Because the shit, man, man, listen. I'm going to need African people to start standing up for your shit, man. Okay? And a lot of folks are like, oh, you shouldn't worry about it. Don't give it so much energy. They ain't got shit. They wouldn't know what to do shit. And if anything, they're bringing a world of pain upon themselves. So let them have it. Let them go ahead and fuck with it. Because they asking to get fucking murked. As true as that may be. My issue is not about that. It's about black folks who are buying into this bullshit.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me.
Okay, it's my daughter's birthday. And she decided to bomb my live. Okay, this is Black Magic Bay, if you didn't know. Okay, and today is her birthday. Okay, and she totally took me off my game, but that's fine. She's allowed. It's her birthday, y'all. And she's a powerful reader and worker in her own right. Definitely check her out. buy her soaps and yeah, because they're the bomb. But yeah, we all messy up in here, aren't we? I like mother like daughter. But anyway, getting back to what I'm saying, you don't get to just jump into people's cultures and pick and cherry pick and pick and choose what you think is working for you and then repackage it and peddle it to people outside of this culture as cultural truths. Don't do that shit and think ain't nobody gonna check you on that shit, okay? And unfortunately, too many black folks is giving these motherfuckers passes, okay? Oh, yes, you're fine. Oh, you're all right. Yes, 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 yes. You're fine. As a matter of fact, that's why Star Cassis went back and did a fucking 180, okay? Because she went to a black person, a Polaro named Robert Lucas. Some of you all may know him. He and I used to be very close. We have since parted ways. He blocked me on here, so he'll probably never see this live unless he takes the block off. But Robert, if you're watching, I love you. Ain't no love lost between us. You still gonna be my brother no matter what, okay? I'm just a little mad at you right now, and you know why, all right? But it's always gonna be love, bro. Know that. Anyway, she, was very perplexed and conflicted by the things she and I discussed and about the truth that I hit her over the head with, okay? But she wasn't pressed enough to just do. She had to go and get his pass. And what did he tell her? What did he tell her? Get your teacup. What did he tell her? Don't listen to her. You ain't got to take nothing down. You ain't got to stop saying nothing. You can go ahead. Keep them damn shits on your altar and keep doing what you're doing and don't listen to her. Now, maybe he had nefarious reasons for telling her, because he and I have both talked about how these white motherfuckers have their asses handed to them playing with these spirits like that. Who knows? Okay? But I know she took his goddamn advice. She sure did. Ended up publishing another book with the goddamn Mammy thing on the cover. Okay? And to this day, she still has black folks caping for her, acting like this shit is okay. Black folks, listen, to paraphrase a quote from one of the master teachers, Dr. John Henrik Clark, the liberation of the black man will never be found between the legs of a white woman. Okay? That's a metaphor, but I'm sure he also meant it literally as well as figuratively. You are not going to find the keys to our ancestral practices in anything from a white woman. Know that. Know that. Does this mean white people can't get the keys? If you grow up with a black family, it's possible. Yeah, and that has happened, especially in places like the Eastern Seaboard and Louisiana. Okay, and even in between. It's very rare, but it happens. Okay, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say it can't. Okay, it's just that I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. What I do see, however, is a lot of appropriators jumping on the bandwagon, calling themselves root doctors, root workers, hoodoo mamas, hoodoo priests, this, that, and the fucking third. Nobody in your community called you that. You called yourself that. And therein is the difference with root culture. Okay? You become known by your works, not by what you call yourself. But Cat Ironwood and Star Cassis and Denise Alvarado and these other motherfuckers think that, oh, just come and take our classes and you too can be a root doctor. You too can be a root worker. You too can be, a priestess or whatever they're trying to tell people they're going to be when they get their little certificates of completion or whatever the fuck they're giving out. Because I know it ain't damn degrees. That's the fucking hype. And again, it's all motivated by what, y'all? To preserve a part of black culture? Is that what they're doing it for? Tell the goddamn truth and quit lying. Is that why they're doing this? To honor us, okay? Because the fucking spirits that they say they're trying to honor with these mammy jars and all these other racist icons, we're the living, breathing manifestations of our ancestors, boo. You want to honor our ancestors? Honor us. You want to honor their strength? Why don't you honor the strength that we have as black folks living and breathing right here, right now, who are dealing with the bullshit of your people right now? Okay? We get murdered with impunity right the fuck now. We got laws being written on the books to further oppress and restrict our rights right the fuck now. We're dealing with being labeled as hate groups and black identity extremists when we stick up for our own people and exercise our First Amendment right. Right now, we got black folks who get jacked up by the police, even murdered when they carry guns in open carry state. Right the fuck now. But where you at? Where the fuck are you dealing with that shit? You want to honor our motherfucking dead? And let me tell you something about the Mammy. Lama Dama. I'm sorry, because Mammy is racist. Lama Dama, as Star wants to call them. Let me tell you something about your precious Mammy boo. Do you think for a second that Mammy didn't have a pappy? Because people who know me in real life and know what I do, I rocks with my husband. I'm ride or die for him. And he for me. And when they call one, they get us both. We are a package motherfucking deal. And if you can't handle that shit, then we ain't going. That's how I am in life. Do you think that's such a unique position to hold? Or is your fucking racist ideology about black people such that you don't consider the black woman standing next to the black man? You don't see the black man nurturing, protecting, and honoring his black woman. You've been bought into that motherfucking narrative, haven't you? So that's why I think it is so easy for these motherfuckers to jump into our shit, honor our enslaved ancestors, or they're not really honoring. They want to say they are. But what they're doing is basically trying to enslave them in the spirit like their ancestors enslaved them in the goddamn flesh to do their motherfucking bidding. Because that's all Mammy was to them. Somebody to do what they told them what the fuck to do. You understand me? And to think for a second she didn't have no man who had her back. God damn it, you call Mammy, you're calling the black pappy too. And don't think for a second that he's going to be shucking and jiving behind your white asses. Yes, a mistress. Oh, what you want, mistress? Oh, I'll get to it right away, mistress. Yes, sir, Miss Ann. I got your back, Miss Ann. Oh, yeah, I love them tobaccos and them cakes you set out for me, Miss Ann. I'll get to the job right away. Is that what the fuck you think you're doing here? Keep on. Keep doing it here. I done already seen how these spirits of vengeance and wrath done fucked a white motherfucker up. Okay? Ray Hess. And if you know him, tag that bitch to this goddamn live too. He and I had a whole ass argument about this shit where he felt he was entitled, okay, to put the iconography of enslaved dead folks on his hoodoo altar. And some of y'all remember that. And the last thing I said to him was, keep on. To your peril. So how come a few months later, this dude was making posts back to back to back on Facebook about how his whole fucking life was falling apart. And then he's like, I don't understand what's happening. And I cackled. Yes, I did. Okay? But again, have at it, white folks. All right? You'll be your own undoing. And then another thing is when they do these things and bad shit happens, the first thing they want to think, oh, somebody tried to throw at me. Oh, somebody's throwing at me. Somebody's out to get me. Starcast is real good for that shit. Bitch is always complaining about somebody throwing at her ass. When she doesn't even realize that the things that are happening to her is because of the shit she's doing and bringing upon her own self. That type of disrespect, that type of dishonesty will never go unchecked in the spirit realm. Trust that shit. And that's where spiritual discernment comes in, y'all. Please wake up and smell the fucking coffee, okay? This is about understanding the truth behind the bullshit that you're faced with when you start approaching this shit, using the internet as your guide, using Facebook groups as your guide, using YouTube videos as your guide. If you really feel drawn to this, you need to find a culture bearer of tradition. Somebody who's old enough to know a thing or two. Okay? Put that before your ancestors. Tell them, put my teacher on my path. Because guess what? All right? The student and the teacher will always find themselves when the time is right. Don't be in such a hurry. Okay? And this is just to my black brothers and sisters out there who are looking for the answers, looking for guidance, looking to learn certain things. Okay? You can go and study all the stuff these white women have put out there. You can, read their books and take their classes. Fine. I'm not saying don't if that's what you feel compelled to do. Okay? You want to buy their shit? Buy their shit. Okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. But I want you to understand the logic and the truth behind why they're wrong, why their whole approach is wrong, by what they're doing at the basic level is wrong. Okay? Use your own spiritual discernment. Don't even take my word for this shit. Everything I say in my life, you can take it for a fucking grain of salt. I don't give a shit. Okay? But I'm talking to you because I love you. I love my people. I love my ancestors. And any type of fuckery and foolishness I see going on in their name, I will call it the fuck out. I don't give a fuck who you are. And then they got folks running scared and shit. They got folks thinking, I can't speak out again. Oh, you shouldn't say anything. Man, fuck them bitches. If they would have wanted to, if they could have got me, they would have been done it by now. Come after me, you're coming after your own self. I think Beyonce said that best, didn't she? When you hurt me, you hurt yourself. Don't play yourself. Yeah, that was on that Lemonade. Love the fuck out of that shit. But anyway, listen, y'all. I'm going to wrap this up. Okay? You don't need to put racist iconography on your altar to honor your own ancestors. All right? You can look at your own reflection in the mirror and honor your ancestors because they are you. All right? You are them. You don't need no fake capitalistic plastic ass bullshit that was used to oppress us historically to honor our ancestors. That doesn't even make any sense. Okay? That's like putting a goddamn noose on your ancestral altar. Listen, I couldn't even put a piece of raw cotton on the damn altar. Okay? I was stupid. So was my husband. We both thought it was a good idea. We took a trip down south and passed by a cotton field and said, hey, let's go out here and pick some of this cotton so we can, yeah. We never had to do this shit. Let's see what it was like to do this shit. Imagine it's 115 fucking degrees, high noon, and you're out here doing this shit. That shit hurt like hell. Okay? Just picking one piece. We were all like, oh, no, I ain't doing that no more. After just picking one piece. Okay? That shit was painful. Imagine being a child or an elder having to go through that. But we took this raw cotton home and, it ended up there and shit fucking hit the goddamn fan in his house. Shit. Man, listen, my ancestors ain't no joke. Okay? Oh, yeah. They set us right. They set us correctly. We never did that shit again. It's disrespectful to their honor and their memory. They didn't like it. When you are in tune with your ancestors, trust and believe, they will let you know what they like and what they don't like. They will let you know what is of them and what is not. And they have done that. Okay? And I'm trying to let you know right now, you have a choice. You can choose to go with the truth or stay beholden to fucking lies. And if anybody get mad at me for telling the truth, well, goddamn, look at yourself. Go to that mirror and look at your own self and try to understand why the fuck you so upset about the truth. Okay? Because at the end of the goddamn day, for them motherfuckers and perpetrators and marketeers, it's about money. And the truth, such as this, hurts their pockets. Okay? They're only here for your money. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about your people. They don't give a fuck about what our people are going through in this world right now. They just want their fucking piece of the goddamn pie. That's it. That's all. Stop romanticizing the fact that they are interested and eager to so-called give people back something that was dead and lost. It wasn't dead and it wasn't lost. It's just that it stays hidden for reasons such as this one. Black folks guard their precious truths and secrets dearly from outsiders and appropriators, okay, for a good reason. So you want to take a system that was used in the vein of liberation, just so you can get your boyfriend back, just so you can get that promotion at work, just so you can get money, just so you can hex your enemies and all that kind of dumb shit. That's what we're dealing with now. They now have reframed the narrative and calling our traditions a system of folk magic. It's a folk magic. Yeah, anybody can do this. Anybody can get into it, and anybody can do this, and that's a goddamn lie. No, everybody can't do this. There are spiritual levels to this work, okay? And unless you are part of a root working family or a root working community, you won't know. You won't know unless you have apprenticed with somebody who is a part of that community or that family. You won't know. And you think you're going to get it in one fucking visit? You think you're going to get it in a weekend? This shit takes years. It's years and levels to this work. Damn. Again, with the logic and the reasoning. So anyway, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm going to go ahead and get off this. And like I said, you know, I can't see the words scrolling. I'll go back and address everything everybody's saying. But I hope y'all tag these people too, because I'm sick of this foolishness. I'm sick of it. And anyway, peace and love to everybody. Black power and race first. And I hope that everybody's creating powerful black juju.